when I throw it up. Start twerking like Miley. Twerking like Miley.
Hello everybody, welcome to a quick tutorial on how to set up your TeamSpeak Whisper function. What is the Whisper function? Well, the Whisper function is a neat little tool as us as law enforcement officers to be able to talk to our dispatch and our fire EMS without having to switch a channel. All it is just simply holding down a hotkey button that we've selected, and we can broadcast to that channel and our channel that we're in as well, so that way we're not getting talked over and dispatch can hear us clearly without having to switch the channel. How do we set that up? That's a great question. First thing that you want to do is you want to come up to Tools, click on that, scroll down till you get to Whisper List. It's right here. Click on this. It's going to open up a window. What you want to do is you want to click on New in the bottom left corner. This will open up a really small window that says Press Hotkey Combination. I would recommend using the numpad. I do, and it's because not very many exe files and games in general use the number pad very much. So it's great for your TeamSpeak when you are not using another key. It's nothing worse to a gamer than when you have a key selected that also works for another game and it conflicts with it. So I would recommend using the number pad. I'm going to actually use the number 1 on the number pad. As you can see, once I click that, it brings up a list here. You don't have to touch anything at all on this section here. Only thing that we are concerned with is over here, because we do have to assign this numlock 1, for instance, to a channel. How do we do that? We come over here to Contacts. Under there it says NCHPRP. We want to double-click on that. Double-click on Channels. Here is the list of all the channels that we want, but we are really only concerned with this here. Since I'm going to assign this key to Wake Central Communications, which is our dispatch, you can assign whatever key you want to whichever channel. Just make sure you know that one. I'm going to go ahead and select this one. You want to double-click on Wake Central Communications. That will put the channel up here. This is how you know that numlock 1 is assigned to this channel, which is dispatch. As well as you want to make sure that you select the law enforcement channel as well. This is so when you are in this channel, law enforcement, and you are talking to Wake Central Communications, your peers inside this law enforcement channel can hear you, and you don't get interrupted while you're in the middle of talking to dispatch. That is important. That way dispatch can hear you clearly. We're all done with this numlock 1, but we do need to set up one for fire and EMS. So the next thing we want to do is come back down to New, click it again. I'm going to assign number 3 on the keypad. This will be for me to communicate with fire EMS. So we want to come back over to Wake Central Communications, find fire and EMS, which is right here. Double click on this. That will bring it over here. And then you also want to double click on law enforcement again. So that way when you are talking to fire and EMS, you are also not interrupted. At this point, you guys are free to rename those numpad those keys. I'm going to go ahead and rename this key to dispatch. Now I know that dispatch is set up to numlock 1. I'm also going to go ahead and rename this one fire/EMS. That way I know that this key, numlock 3, is set to fire and EMS and dispatch as well. You can name me as whatever you want. Doesn't matter, just as long as you know that's the key. After you're done with all this, you want to come down and hit Apply and hit OK. That will bring you back to here. I'm going to go ahead and now unmute my mic and my sound so you guys can hear what happens when I hit those buttons.
Sound resumed. Microphone activated.
Just so you guys know, because there is nobody in the Wake Central Communication or Fire and EMS to receive my call, you are going to hear something similar to this.
No whisper target found.
Don't be alarmed. That is just it telling me there's no one there to receive it. But as you can see, when I hold the keypad selected, or the num key selected for Wake Central Communications for me to communicate with dispatch, I light up red. The channel I'm in lights up red. as well as Wake Central Communications, the dispatch channel I am broadcasting to, also lights up red. And the same thing goes for fire and EMS. When I hold down the key selected for that,
No whisper target
I
found.
light up red. The channel I am in lights up red, which is, of course, Wake Central Law Enforcement, and the fire and EMS channel lights up red. That's how you know that you are all set at this point to go ahead and get into role-playing. When you guys do this, make sure that if someone is in that communications channel, the first time that you have set this up, if someone's in there, just go ahead and hit the number 1 key or whichever key you have selected, for instance, like this,
No whisper target found.
and just say, communications testing
No
1
whisper
2
target
mic check.
found.
That way they know that you were checked and make sure they can hear you loud and clear and they will respond to you. Do the same thing for fire EMS.
No whisper target found.
Fire EMS, mic check 1 2. That way they know that you are just checking your mic. After that, if you get the all clear, it's working perfectly. You don't have to touch anything else. And you are all set to go in RP. For instance, if you get into something to where they tell you, I'm hearing you loud and clear, but then your peer says, hey, did you just say something? Because I didn't hear it. That's going to tell them and you that something is wrong. In this case, go ahead and contact a staff member to come and help you, or come and grab me, Sergeant Severson. I will help you to the best of my abilities. And if we can't get it figured out, I will, of course, have a staff member help you. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you and get things figured out. But if you are all set, like I said, you guys are all good to go out in RP. Make sure you memorize those keys, because you need to remember those. And, of course, you guys are all good to go. Enjoy this new cool feature, and I will see you guys on the RP scene. Have a good one, guys.